Okay, guys, welcome to Farm Simulator 2022. If you guys haven't played this game or haven't seen this game, don't worry. I'll be explaining everything in the game as we go through. For those of you guys that have played, however, this is an interesting twist because we are going to do something different from everybody else. I'm going to call it the hard challenge mode or something like that. I'm not sure. But anyway, guys, we're going to have no loans, and we're not going to be able to use workers, and or we're not going to have contracts or mods. For you guys that don't know, mods kind of can make the game easy. For example, I'll show you here in the mod area. We'll go over here. You can use this mod here to make a. You can see there is, if you place these, they give you a bunch of money. We're not doing stuff like that or large windmills or nothing like that. We're going to do it the right way, folks. And as you can see right here, this is starting from scratch. You can see no mods. So let's go get started, folks. Alright, so as you can see, here's our pickup with our custom license plate. That's me, and we're gonna go ahead and drive to the farm. Let's get zoomed out a little bit so we can see a little bit better. And it won't be loud for you guys, but the car volume, vehicle volume when you're super close is loud. But anyway, guys, some interesting things here. We're going to be doing is we're going to have a custom start that's going to be a little more difficult for us, and we are going to be doing some interesting things like I had mentioned earlier. One of them that I haven't mentioned yet is the fact of we're not going to be using new equipment. So if you guys look at the shop, and this is the shop right here, you can buy all this sort of stuff in here, all new equipment, tractors, whatnot. We are only going to be able to buy from here. That's going to make it a little tougher, and it's going to make us use stuff we wouldn't have normally tried out, probably. So we got to keep an eye on the sale. The new sales come every time, every time you advance. But anyway, so this is where most people start. And I wanted to do something different. Almost everybody starts here. Or if you look at the map, they start in as you can see where we're starting out, if you've played the game before, will be in the bottom left. But the other farms, we're still pretty close to stuff. And so we are going to go down to our farm. And I wanted to do something a little different than just what was in the game. So I did build with what was given to me. And also I did grab the hidden collectibles on the map, so we can't use that as an easy way out to make money. Like I said, we want to do this the right way, and I want to definitely make sure we're having fun. We don't skip over a bunch of stuff. But there's a normal farm, guys. We're heading down to our farm, and the reason I picked this spot is I kind of wanted to be farther away from stuff. I wanted the challenge of distance as well. And this part of the map doesn't ever get used. I haven't seen, most people use that normal starting spot, or they will use the other corner down at the bottom right, or they'll just use a field. So I wanted to actually use this part down here, and we have kind of, built a whole new farm down here with the money that I've had. Now we only get to start with 300,000, but that's a little bit more than you normally would, but we're also starting out with way worse equipment. I didn't want to have the normal stuff that you start with, and I wanted to start with the basics. So this here is our farm, guys. Now this doesn't look like it was a little bit of effort to start, and we're going to call it Willow Farms. I've put some willow trees around here that will show up after we get out of January. But so you guys can kind of see here what this is like now. Now I'm going to show you what this was in the transformation. Okay, so this is actually what the farm looked like originally. It was really cool, and I did like it. One issue we had though is a lot of the stuff here we can't even use. It looks nice, and I did want to use some of it. And I'll get to that into a second, but like we can't open that door. We can't put anything in these silos. This building over here doesn't open or have anything really for it other than this little slot right here. And the house didn't even have a save point. So I was like, well, I still want to use some of it. It looks really cool. I wanted to keep the silos. You know, there's some really interesting things, but the when we built this farm for people that have played this game, as you can see, when we go to demolish, you can't demolish just one item. You know, it's everything. Now, it probably doesn't look like it, but on our map, there was at least 3 hours of terraforming and putting this, you know, to the way we have it. And I didn't want to bore you with that, guys. So let's go back to our farm. Okay, so we're back at the farm, and as you can see, we have on this side of the farm, we have these two tiny, tiny fields, and up at the top, we have two more of them fields. If you look on the map, that's actually a better one right there. You can see 64, 65, which are the same size as these guys here. So eventually, we're really going to want to expand, and we're going to want to get into a bigger farm, but that'll happen over time. I wanted to make sure I didn't have the same start as everybody else. So, for example, we are starting with the lowest equipment, and on this map, you would normally start with 2 John Deeres, and I believe a Massey Ferguson. So these are the workhorses of the farm, guys. These are what we'll be using. And if you are familiar with the channel, I always like to name the tractors. So if you can see back here, we got, this one is Krusty. This is a 100 horse Beer, and I do believe one of the maps you actually do start with this tractor, but like I said, I wanted to have older looking so everything we do own is the smallest of what it is. So if you look, for example, our plow right there, and you can go look, this is the shop, by the way, to buy equipment. If we go and look at this plow, we have this one right here. It is the smallest one. It's 85 horse is required, and it is only 1.2 meters wide. And you can see they get pretty big towards this end of it. Same thing with our, for example, I will show you our cedar. Where is our cedar? Right here. We have the littlest one possible at 3 meters and 125 horse. So that is also, I want to explain too quickly why I didn't pick this tractor, because it couldn't even move the small cedar. So we had to pick something bigger, and I didn't want new looking stuff. I wanted older looking stuff. Thus the reason we have these tractors. So we have the 100 horse Krusty, the beer, and we have a 135 horse Steyr. So that's just good enough to pull the cedar, basically. And these tractors are not fast. These two in particular, they're pretty slow, and we're just calling this little Steyr for now. I haven't used that tractor much, and we will be using all of our equipment and trying it out before we upgrade and stuff. So we're going to wait to upgrade till we've used all our equipment. So this here is the Grinch. This is the workhorse on our farm. Normally the game gives you about a 200 horse tractor to pull implements around. This guy has 150, so it's going to be a little bit of more of a challenge when we start getting new implements and equipment to work our soil. So let's go ahead down here, and I won't get too much into each of them. This is our cultivation area right here. So you can see there's a little subsoiler, plow, cultivator. This is our planting area or sowing area. This is a cedar and a planter. They plant different things. We'll get into them a little bit later. And then field work, and then some other equipment. Now, because I am starting with the small stuff, I wanted to make sure I had the small stuff of everything. And because we can't buy a new equipment as a challenge, we can only buy from this used equipment. We got to make sure we have the smallest of at least everything. So we do have a water tanker. I do have an arm with some attachments here. And we have this barn, which honestly I think we're going to use. I thought it was really cool looking, and a lot of this was for decoration. So I really want to use this. I think we're going to use it for bale storage, little guys. And then this is the littlest baler and, baling equipment. We'll get into them again, like I said, when the time comes to use them. This is our harvester. This is actually not one you normally start with. You normally start with one that's a little bit bigger than this harvester. We'll go see into this category, harvesters. And this is the one you normally start with. We are starting with the lower one. So in a lot of the options, we're starting with the worst equipment. The one exception is this guy, and I wanted to have a forklift because we're so far away. That we got to load our seeds because we cannot drive a tractor that goes 15 miles an hour all the way to the shop. That's what I mean about this being difficult. So we're gonna have to load this. We're gonna have to load our seeds up, and so we needed a forklift to do that. But anyway, try not to drag this on too far. Up here we have our silos, and like I said, some of this we will see more in the series. This, I just tried to do some decorations up here. The solar panel is more of a decoration. If anybody thinks that's a money-making thing, as you can see, we'll go into construction. We can totally affect the land if you were not aware of it. This is kind of an overview of our stuff right here. If we go to production and we go over to generators, as you can see, this thing, it says it makes 8,000, but as we saw in the last series, this thing says 67,000, and it made maybe 5. So I'm assuming this is only going to be a few $100 a month, maybe 1,000, which is fine by me. It just looked really cool, and I wanted to make the house look a little bit better. There's not a lot of decorations here. But anyway, guys, let's get started with farming. Okay, so the first thing you would normally want to do is check your fields. We're going to go to the menu here. We're going to the map, and you can see we own these fields right down here. So we're going to zoom in right here. They're tiny, but they're going to have to do for us for right now. And if we go to the growth stages, you can see these have been cultivated and plowed. So the soil's already been worked to put seeds into, but I do want to show you the cultivator. So let's actually take the stire, and I'll show you guys what you would normally do before you seed. We're going to go ahead and grab this little cultivator right here, right now, and take it out. So any of these pieces that are called cultivators or in the shed, like a plow, a subsoiler, they have a lot of names, rippers, they have a ton of names in real life. But they all work the soil basically, get you ready to put stuff in this, put stuff in the ground to grow. So normally this is already done before, but you would just go along and plow the dirt and get it ready to get seeds in it. Now, we're starting in January, which is kind of I wanted to start at the beginning of the year and not with a harvest. So we can actually show you the whole deal. So as you can see, that's how you harvest and cultivate. And without workers, guys. I mean, you could see this is even these little fields with these little cultivators would take us some time. So we need to go put this guy back. Also, I noticed that tractor, that cultivator doesn't seem to need a lot of power to pull that one actually. Actually, we should go look at it and just see what that is. I just know it's the smallest one. Yeah, so it's 90 horse. So even our little guy could pull that, but it would be barely good enough. So let's go ahead and put this cultivator back, and we are going to grab our seeder, and we are going to need to actually go ahead and fill this up. I do believe Yeah, it is empty. So let's go ahead and come over here to our seed bags. And we're going to have to go ahead and empty or fill this up. Now, this little seeder is going to take us a little bit, but let's go over here anyway. It's sold 600. I don't know. I'll be real interested to see if that is actually enough to do all of our fields. See, this thing's getting a little back heavy now. And I wonder what the power is that we need for this seeder. Let's go ahead and let's go to our seeder. It is 125 horse. So that's pushing this tractor to the limits. I actually going to grab our bigger guy for this task, and be a better use of our vehicles. We don't want to run a bunch of hours just on one vehicle. We want to use the best tool for the job. So let's go ahead and put this in the shed. And let's go over to the Grinch and try him out. And actually, because that cedar looks to be pretty heavy on the back, we're going to go over here and grab our weight with it as well. So you're going to notice the back of this thing, when we hook it up, is going to sink. Yeah, see how it's... Here, I'll do it again for you guys so you can see there. You can see it kind of sunk down. We want to get some weight on our front. And we're going to do this with this weight right here. This is 1,000 pounds. And that'll help. As you can see, it brought that tractor back a little bit. Here, let's zoom in so you can see. Boom. So it kind of balanced it out. We do have a bigger weight. I don't know that we really need that yet, though. So let's go ahead and turn to our back and get ready here. We're going to go ahead, lower the cedar, and we're going to want to put it on, well, you know what? It's January, and because we have seasons, we can't plant right now, as you can see. I don't know why it said a worker stop unexpectedly. All right, so we're going to go to our menu now, and we're going to go look at the calendar. As you can see, in January, there is nothing we can plant. The planting is green, and the harvest season is orange. I think for our first crop of the year, though, guys, we're going to go pretty simple. And it looks like the first thing we can really plant that I want to get into, I think we're going to keep it simple. We'll go with sorghum, and that is April. So we're going to go ahead up to the house, and we are going to sleep. That's how you advance. We're going to go advance our day. I'm going to bring you with so you guys can kind of see this. Obviously, when we do more advancing, we're not going to do very much. I won't always have you with for that part of it. But as I said right there, we only got $400 from that solar panel, so it's not really making us a whole lot of money. And weather is turned on. This is another thing I wanted to show you why we're starting in January. As you can see, it's snowing, and this would build up. So every month there's going to be more stuff for us to do and challenges with the seasons. So we're going to keep an eye on this used vehicle shop just for any deals we might want to look at. Now, we're not going to upgrade any of the equipment we do have until we use it. So I want to be very clear on that point. But we will be keeping an eye in here because I feel like with our distances that we have to drive, like we're at the bottom corner of the map. If we have to take something all the way to the top right, or for example, I want to get into different locations. So that normal farm location you guys, I showed you in the very beginning over by 44, 45, 46, we may use for animals, or maybe it'll be our cotton area, or I want to use all these farms and kind of build the map and mold it to our needs. So we got nothing obviously in January, the second day. I have 2 days in the month. just because when we get later on, it'll get pretty busy. We will need the 2 days. So once again, I'll start advancing and I will see you guys in what month was that? I believe that was April. Yep, so the first day in April, guys. Okay, it is April, and as you can see at sorghum, second from the bottom, the planting season has just started. And it is raining, which you can't harvest in, but we can seed in it. So raining does kind of give you some adverse effects, but for our time being, we're good. So we need to make sure our seed, as you can see, we need to switch that to sorghum. Because, for example, if we did this and tried to turn it on, it can't be planted. So we need to go to sorghum. And I think we actually are going to do sorghum, but as you can see here, let's actually use our ridge marker. Let's do this side. And what the ridge marker is going to do is leave a nice little trail for me to follow the next pass. I'll show you. You can see we're putting sorghum in. Them old weeds are getting knocked down. We'll have to deal with them again later though. But the Grinch is really doing a good job here. So this seeder is actually not doing a bad job. Let's turn off. Let's get it turned around here. And get lined up. So what that ridge marker is going to do for us, let's go ahead and flip the ridge marker to the other side. There we go. We'll drop that ridge marker down. I actually plan on using that quite a bit on these small seeders because what happens is you're not going to be able to tell where you went that well. So let's go ahead, start seeding here. And you can see right as we drive on that line, we're not really overlapping too much. And that's really helping us out. So we're going to keep using that ridge marker. But we have 4 fields to put in sorghum. We'll do more fields down the road. But for the time being, I want to keep this pretty simple on our first season. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep seeding, but I'm going to do a little bit of a montage bit. So it speeds it up a little bit for you guys. Okay, as you can see, this actually tractor doesn't do too bad, but you can see it kind of gets lugged down in spots. And to be honest, it still took a while to seed all that. Even them little fields. I mean, these are tiny fields. Think if we'd used that seeder over on that field, for example, that would have took us, oh, probably a few years. But as you can see, we got rocks coming up. And as you can see, it says it needs rolling. And that is a little bit to do with the rocks. We could roll, let's get these rocks back in, but we don't have a roller. So there's certain things you need to do to the field that over a few period of a few harvests, like rolling, lime, they'll have to be replowed. And as you can tell, right now, these aren't too bad, but they could get pretty bad. So I think we're going to leave them alone for now, and we'll have to keep an eye out for a roller and a spreader that actually spreads lime. So let's go ahead and fold this up, and let's take this back to the farm. But I think we have a really good start on today's episode, or on today's new series. I actually am going to double down on episodes today, guys, because I know you guys are probably going to be super pumped. Let's fill this thing up with seeders, or with seeds. And it didn't use that much seed, surprisingly. I thought it was going to use a lot more seed. So I think we're going to do double episodes today. So I think we're going to see in episode 2. But guys, because this is the first episode of the series, I don't ever talk about it. But if you could comment, like, subscribe, whatever it is to help out, because it's the first episode, it is really important. So hopefully I see you guys in the next episode. Have a good one, folks. Have a wonderful day.